Hi, I'm Rob Mueller, one of the co-authors of Neighborhood Church, and welcome to Chapter 5, Sustaining the Vision. You know, many church leaders pay a very high price trying to navigate the waters of cultural change and help their churches into new paradigms and new ways of being. And once you get into those new paradigms, it's hard to sustain the energy to be able to keep them going. We've discovered that one of the most important things in sustaining that vision is the importance of passionate worship and the ability to keep people connected to a living experience of the living presence of God. We're here at Shepherd of the Hills Presbyterian Church today, and they are known in our presbytery for being one of the churches that has very high energy and spirit-filled worship. And I'd like for you to hear what their pastor, Leon Bloder, and their worship arts director, Beth Watson, have to say about what they do here at Shepherd of the Hills to sustain the vision through passionate worship.
So Shepherd is an interesting church. It's not a terribly old church. It was actually founded in the 1980s. And our DNA here is very casual. It's informal, and it's a very kind of Austin-y crowd.
When we say Austin-y, I mean that we need to unpack that a bit. Because this is a particularly interesting place. It's a melting pot of a lot of different people from different backgrounds, and also our church is, I would consider it kind of a purple church in a lot of ways. We have people from all, sort of theological, political, those kinds of backgrounds and points of view, but it works. And I think the approach that we have, where we are uniquely sort of us in whatever we do, whether it's in our casual worship service or in our traditional worship service, it's definitely, it fits our particular context.
And we're a church that doesn't pay attention to trends. So we don't try to do a thing that isn't us because we think it will make us grow or that it will attract people. We try to live fully into our authentic incarnation of being the church in this time and place.
The key is authentic. So when you're cueing in on authentic, then some of the things that you are wanting to happen, that your church would be vibrant and thrive, and that people would be drawn to be a part of the family of faith, those things happen out of authenticity.
Yeah, out of relationship.
Absolutely. And so, we definitely use a variety of media and all kinds of different means to communicate that and to live sort of authentically into what we see as our calling to be the church. I mean, we say that we love God and love everybody, and that's something that we communicate in a variety of ways as well. That you immediately go to our website, and the first thing that you see is love God, love everybody. We want that to be a message that is conveyed, that this is a place where all are welcome, and we really want to live into that.
Leon and I think and talk with one another about the theology of all of these pieces. We don't just do it because it's fun or cool. And so one of the reasons why we incorporate non-explicitly Christian music in our worship is that all of life is sacred. All of God, all of life is for God to be in the midst of. And we don't have our Sunday morning persona and then the rest of our lives.
Right.
And so we want life of faith to permeate everything about everybody in our congregation.
Absolutely.
We want it to permeate their jobs and their family lives and the way they drive and the way they shop. And so we want to model that here in our communal worship together so that people have the opportunity to invite God into all that they are, the messy and the clean and the good and the bad and the everything in between. And also to recognize that God is present even when we aren't saying Jesus Christ. God is in the midst of all of creation. God is in the midst of all of beauty, all of love. All those things are of God. And so we don't want people to feel like that the Christian life should be lived in a bubble. Right. We want people to embrace God's presence in every part of who they are.
So I think that some people fear change because they worry that somehow the message is going to be lost if it's conveyed in a different way. And that's something that we strive very hard to make sure that...
that's the piece that doesn't change.
It doesn't change. I remember having a conversation with a dear lady who was asking me, why do we change this? Or why do we have to do this? And my response was, well, we need to change some things or, we're going to die. We have to still remain authentic within our context, and the context around us has changed.
Sustaining the vision for a congregation that seeks to adapt itself to the context that is constantly changing around us is not easy. It requires passionate and engaging worship that keeps us connected to the living presence of God, that motivates us and keeps us supported as we navigate what are very difficult waters sometimes. It also requires leadership that is willing to be flexible and adaptable to the things that change around them, both within the church and outside of the church. If we're going to be faithful to the message of Jesus Christ, we have to learn how to be flexible in the ways in which we proclaim that message. I hope this chapter will help you in being able to identify some of those ways that can benefit your congregation and its life as you seek to be a good neighbor in the midst of your community.